Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic edition of DialogBOX. I am your host, Laughingboy LP. Hey, if you've seen every episode so far, you should finally have all the clues now to enter my secret Discord, so get at it.
Oh, nice.
I feel called out now.
So I'm your host, Laughingboy LP, and with me today are two very lovely guests. We have Twitch streamer and content creator ProtonJon.
Hello.
And we have other streamer and content creator NintendoCapriSun.
Hello to hi. Yeah.
It's fine. He's finally accessed my secret Discord. It's a lot to take in.
It's a little bit. It's like I'm kind of shocked right now.
I didn't expect all that nudity, honestly.
So hey, E3 happened. That was fun, wasn't it? That was E3. That was pretty good.
That thing, yeah.
Yeah, the 3 E's, electronic entertainment,
Extreme
entertainment, 4 E's.
Extreme Electronic Entertainment Expo, E4. That's the future.
Last E. No,
the last E is silent.
The last E is silent. So let's talk about that for a little bit. We're going to kind of go over this in 3-ish sections. Basically, whatever kind of happened with Microsoft and the lack of Sony. We'll go more a bit into the third-party conferences that happened later on in that day. And then we're going to end that, after I burp, with talking about Nintendo. Nintendo pretty much had enough stuff to talk about to get its own section. And then we'll, talk about our thoughts and feelings. How does that sound?
Let's do it.
Works for me.
So, Microsoft, they had a press conference. It happened. You can't take it back. But
it's too late. It's all out there now.
It's too late. Just all out the window. But here's the thing, after seeing that conference, did that make you guys feel like going out and buying an Xbox One, or make you even feel good about owning one?
Yeah,
no.
I mean, I have two, so I don't need to. And neither of them gets playtime.
I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but we had my girlfriend and I have an Xbox One that is still in a box, but we've taken it out for about a month and a half to watch American Gods on Stars, because that was the only way we could do it.
There you go.
That is more I got an Xbox One X in, I think it was November or October. It stayed sealed until I made the move to the new house here in May, and it's on a shelf right now to be hooked up, but it is still wrapped in plastic. So it is you have all these consoles with cords hanging off of them, and then this plastic wrapped Xbox One X.
I'll get to you.
I feel bad. Oh yeah, do you have one, Tim?
Oh. Yeah, I have one. I bought it 3 years ago for Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, and I haven't touched it since. So
that's right.
See, I feel bad because Xbox, I grew up on Xbox. I got an original Xbox. I had a 360. That was my main console that generation. But then this generation, it just hasn't been worth it. I've got a bunch of games for it, and the Game Pass is a super good deal if you have an Xbox, or now if you just own a PC, because you don't even really need that anymore. No. Xbox's strategy is you don't need an Xbox to enjoy Xbox. So it's okay, then why are you selling Xboxes? That's weird.
It would make more sense if they would just stop making new SKUs.
Yeah.
If I can play it off of my MacBook Pro, then what's the point?
I love the fact that they made a console that doesn't even have a disc drive anymore, and then it's still as expensive as the one with the disc drive because it just comes with an extra game or two.
Well, my favorite part is that it's called the Xbox One S All Digital, so everyone keeps calling it the Xbox One SAD.
Yeah, they had to have known. They had to know. They're not stupid.
That had to have been on purpose. But I guess my problem here is okay, it was a fine conference. It was good, I think. But it doesn't here's the thing. Like, Sony took a break this year. You know, Sony was like, we don't really have anything to talk about. If anything comes out, it's like 2020. They're still talking about Dreams. Dreams still isn't officially out. It's been in the books since 2014, right?
It had a booth at PAX East.
It had a booth because it's in early access. So they went with that model because, like, for God's sake, get something out the door. But, like, remember, Dreams was technically announced, like, when the PS4 was. So Sony's basically like, we need to take a back seat here. We see the horizon, we see what's coming up, and there's like nothing really to talk about besides like more updates on games that, as far as we know, are going to be PS4 games, but then could wind up being cross-generational PS5 games anyway. So I think they want to focus more on, you know, talking about things that are more relevant. And Microsoft kind of had the same idea, but they also wanted to focus on their next generation. And then they really like messed up on both parts. Like, this was the time for Microsoft to basically be like, look, Sony's not here. You know, mom and dad aren't home. Let's really mess this shit up and like do some really cool stuff. And they, as far as I'm concerned, they like totally blew it.
So I don't think they blew it. I think the problem is this is the in-between era right now. Everyone's holding off to announce their next big console, Scarlet and PS5. So no one really has anything cool to show off because everything is kind of secretly getting moved over to the next generation. So really, there was no physical way Xbox could have a mind-blowing conference, and there's no way Sony could have either, without just being like, here is the console that is a year and a half away. So let's not bother. Both companies were like, yeah, that's stupid. And then like even the Scarlet portion for the Halo conference was just like, this is just us acting like this is an Apple product right now.
Well, it's like, let's talk about the teraflops.
Yeah, like literally someone compared it to what they did in the Wall Street Journal for the PS5, and it was like they're both just saying the exact same points at this point. Both of their consoles will do the exact same thing.
It's not even enough to say, okay, Devil May Cry 5, that's a cool game, right? You'll buy it on Xbox, right? And it's like, well, I don't have to. This is the opportunity for Microsoft to really, if they really wanted to focus on, this is the Microsoft conference. Let's make you feel good about being a Microsoft owner. Start talking about, you know, exclusives, even if, you know, almost everything they announced was going to be in 2020 anyway. And I feel like knowing that we are about to hit the next console generation, we have something to look forward to. And like I said, I kind of understand that most games are going to be cross-generational at this point. Anything that gets announced now will probably have like a Game of the Year or a remaster on the PS5 or the Scarlet. So take that opportunity to make us excited for something, as long as it's like within the next year. Like, we don't want another, you know, Year of Dreams that Sony did 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. But, you know, make an Xbox owner feel good about owning an Xbox, not make them shrug and be like, okay, but I could also just, you know, play this on my computer. I guess that's kind of how I feel.
I think
about
that's kind of the way Microsoft is going. They're like, all right, well, just in case you don't want to get an Xbox, you probably have a computer, so get it on this. So at least you're playing our product. I hate to say it, it is as much as flack as we give Microsoft, it's not a terrible strategy.
It's not, and I think it's the other weird part is that I think it's very forward thinking of them to essentially say, and here's the thing, I would not be surprised if Scarlet winds up being maybe their last console, but they don't leave the business. Like, this could be a thing where within the next 5 to 6 years, we're starting to see more things like the Stadia, as we're probably going to start seeing games as a service take over, you know, physical games and physical consoles.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around.
The phrase.
Almost everyone had one. Like, the only ones I didn't notice that talked about games as a service was like Bethesda, Square, and Nintendo.
Bethesda talked about the back-end service for that instead. They literally, their conference was like, hey, we know you all have these like download streaming plans. Use our engine so you can do it better. See, that was honestly smarter, but still kind of like, oh, really?
So we kind of brushed along this, but here's the funny thing. Sony was noted as actually being the third most talked about publisher during E3 for a publisher that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but like, do we think that it was weird that Sony decided not to come this year? And what do you think? Do you think they'll be here next year? And what do we expect from that?
I don't know. I feel E3 is just getting less and less relevant every year.
It really is.
So Sony's kind of moving towards like, what's the point anyway? Let's go ahead and get started now on our own.
Tim, you were physically there this year. I heard Microsoft
Yeah,
didn't even have a booth inside the expo hall anymore. They had like their own
I
building.
did not see one.
They didn't last year either. So you had to walk like maybe 5 minutes away from the convention center to see Microsoft. They rented out a space, I think, in the
Xbox Theater.
Yes, the aptly named Xbox Theater.
It's right on the nose.
Yeah, it's right where they did the conference. I think they let you like go down into the conference room, or the conference like area, and that's where they had a lot of their demos. So you could basically just walk over there. We saw the store. We didn't really go to actually inside last year, but in the actual convention center was just a mixer booth.
Ah, okay.
I don't know, Tim, if they did that this year as well, if you noticed that. I mean, I agree with what Tim said. It's kind of painful to think about like E3 becoming less and less relevant, especially considering how much money it costs to really do it every year. Like Nintendo, again, forward thinking, was like, well, we can just do this our own way. We can do it digitally, and then everyone gets to see exactly what we want them to see. Like, we're not having a
problem is
Skyward
Nintendo
Sword
literally
fiasco.
proved how redundant E3 is. Nintendo was just like, yeah, let's just kind of do this our own way now, and it stuck.
Yeah.
So.
It really did, but it also provided, because they were able to release more often throughout the year, it made people happier, because it's like, well, okay, now we can kind of have this, on a monthly basis and get updates from them and kind of see what's going on. Although I think personally it may come with the cost of having too much information about a game and not getting to experience it for yourself. But, you always have the option of, whether or not you actually want to partake in receiving that information. So we talked about Scarlet. That has a release window of winter 2020. Mm-hmm. So we have a year, basically, of when the next console generation, when everyone else is going to start joining the next console generation.
Basically, next E3, if it's still around, Sony will be back, and both Microsoft and Sony will go hard. That's my speculation.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be there still.
Unless for some crazy reason they're both like, oh no, that direct thing actually does work really good. Let's just completely skip it. But even then, I don't think they will do that.
Well, and even then, I was a little surprised that Sony didn't even do a State of Play, which is their version of the Direct. They did one the year before and the year before that, so I think there was an expectation they would do one per month. And so I guess personally, it was a little weird that they didn't even do that. But yeah, and we can only assume that the PS5 is coming after the Scarlet releases, unless they decide to mention that they're also releasing Holiday 2020. But like, is there anything really to kind of be excited about with this next console iteration right now?
Not
Faster
really.
load times. That's basically it. Because the problem is they're both pushing 4K and promising 8K, but like in the future. But like, no one's even at the point where 4K is standard. So that just seems like excessive at this point.
4K, I think, maybe became a little cheaper faster than 1080 did back in the day.
Yeah,
but
I think you're right there. But the other thing they're going to need to do is they're going to need to expand hard drive sizes in these consoles, because when the Xbox One offered like 4K files for all the games they had, hard drives filled up crazy fast. Like, those things are huge.
No kidding. Like, you're basically asking people to download maybe twice the file size that you would normally have for a 40 gigabyte install is now maybe an 80 to 100.
Yeah, what was the day one patch for Red Dead Redemption 2? Was it 80 gigs, 60? It was something insane.
I think it was 90. I think it was 90.
Oh my god, that's even
worse.
worse.
To 90. Yeah. That's expensive, memory-wise. And we have to have the infrastructure in order to support it. So I don't know if maybe it's like somehow technology is working in a way where this bubble hasn't burst yet. But my fear is that with this next console iteration, if we start pushing really hard like I'm seeing with games as a service, then how is that going to work with 4K? And Stadia has already proved that this is not a sustainable thing. They haven't physically proved it yet, but when you see the numbers and you're seeing like how much data is being downloaded per hour to stream a 4K game, it's astronomical. It cannot sustain itself. So I'm worried that this next console iteration is basically like, all right, let's do that, and it's all going to implode on itself, and Nintendo's going to be here like, I don't know, we got
Hi,
Pokemon.
everybody.
Yeah.
We
still got Pokemon. I mean, Nintendo even is like saying to themselves like, we can't have 1,000 Pokemon in this video game because the amount of data and the amount of effort that it would take to have them all in here is not sustainable.
But I want it now.
No, you'll get it in a DLC patch and you'll pay $20 for it and like it.
I mean, at this point, I'm surprised they haven't done that.
I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I think this whole Dexit thing is going too far, but...
Oh my god, is that what they're calling it?
Oh boy, I didn't...
Oh,
yeah,
that's painful.
To be fair, I did not make that up. But like... I wish I could take credit for that.
So I looked up that Red Dead Redemption 2 thing. To install the game was 99 gigs on PS4, and you needed an additional 50 gigs on top of that. Xbox One needed 107 gigs to install the game.
Jesus Christ.
Jeez Louise.
And there was a day one patch on top of that was 3 gigs.
Oh, that's just the cherry on top.
Yeah, so like the Xbox One X comes with a 500 gig hard drive, I think.
Wow.
Or 1 terabyte, somewhere like that. So that's like, okay, cool. It's either a 5th or a 10th full for one game.
For one game.
I mean, it's a big game, so
it's a very big boy.
It's a special example, but still, like
it's too much.
That's why both companies are like, all right, just plug in external hard drives. At this point, we don't care.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great because it means more money to them for like, here's another 2 terabyte hard drive. What are you gonna do? So I actually bought like way back. I bought a 1 terabyte for my old PS4, and luckily I didn't fill it to the brim with Rock Band music. But then my PS4 Pro came with 2 terabyte because it was like that 500 million one.
Oh, you got the special edition one. Okay.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money.
I know.
All right, so hey, Ubisoft had their press conference. Boy, sure they sure had a press conference. It was
guns.
Yeah, there was.
So my original title for this part was TomCon. Because like what 7 Tom Clancy games were talked about?
Something like that. Let's see: Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six Siege DLC, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Elite Squad, which was the mobile game, which uses all the other Tom Clancy characters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and The Division 2. Yeah, no, they actually did only mention 5.
It was really nice of them to kind of like. Watch Dogs Legion could have been a really cool reveal because it was like their very first thing they talked about, and then of course it gets leaked. I'm actually, one of 5 Watch Dogs fans out there. I really liked 2. I should go back and finish it, but I'm looking forward to Legion. It looks like they really wanted to. They had this like weird Nintendo mentality of. We have a reason to make this game because of this weird gimmick that we want to incorporate in it with the taking over of NPCs and making them playable characters. And
that is a cool concept. I never got around to playing it, but I always thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Watch Dogs, I just like sci-fi to an extent, and so a sci-fi based open world game was fun. The story in the first game is not great. The story in the second game is
I keep
way
hearing everyone's like, it's just like Assassin's Creed. Don't bother with Watch Dogs 1.
Yeah, don't.
Which is
really
hard because
don't.
I'm that kind of person that needs to play them in order, and I also kind of see how bad it is for myself.
Yeah, but you act. That's kind of your thing. Look, honestly, the gameplay's not bad. It's just that you're probably gonna finish the game being like, oh my god, that character sucks.
I keep hearing that Aiden is a terrible character.
He's a terrible character. He's written that way on purpose, but it doesn't help. But like Watch Dogs 2, like everyone's just like kind of campy and goofy, and it's fun, and it's still like the same core principle of what the whole narrative is supposed to talk about. So I was a little concerned when the word Brexit came up, and I'm just kind of like, all right, please don't do your usual Ubisoft thing where you try to be like super, you know, hello fellow children with your concept. It does. They're really, really, really bad at it. Like, they try to be super edgy, and they just come off as really bad. They're really good when they do camp. And Watch Dogs 2 is great in that respect, but I'm a little worried about 3. Like, just don't lean hard into Brexit, and we'll be okay. They're gonna lean hard into Brexit.
They're gonna lean
Pretty much.
They're gonna lean so hard.
But Watch Dogs Legion has so much potential, which is what freaks me out about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's where I stand on it too, is like, this is a great reason to make it. Like, if they never even made another Watch Dogs after 2, I would have been fine, but if you're gonna create this like cool concept to go along with it, then I'm all for it. So,
come on, gun-toting grandma. Just want to lead an army.
Oh man,
you can have so many
ridiculous,
gun-toting grandmas. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it works better than the driving mechanics. But I mean, really, like the rest of it, was there anything else that we were kind of looking forward to? Like, Ubisoft just kind of came and went. They really did.
Can I be real?
Really?
A lot of people and a lot of like leaks and stuff are really making it look like there was gonna be a new Splinter Cell, and I was kind of pumped for that.
Oh no.
So I'm of the camp of like, oh man, I was hoping for Splinter Cell, but out of the list, like none of this. Well, oh, that's a lie. Roller Champions looked really cool.
Oh yeah.
Roll champions.
So this was
So-
this basically was like roller derby, but like super flashy, a la like Overwatch or like Rocket
Oh
League.
yeah. Okay, I know which one. That one.
Yeah, so that looked really cool. I never got to play the beta or the early alpha, but it honestly looked really interesting.
I think it makes for like a good just either stream game, or I don't really know, like I don't think there's couch co-op, but you know, just something fun to play with your friends.
Yeah.
And then they announced of Gods and Monsters, or I think it's just Gods and Monsters.
Yeah.
From the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team, because they saw Breath in the Wild and they're like, we just want to make that.
To be fair, I'm
yeah,
okay
pretty
with
much.
that.
It looks great, but it is a teaser, and all teasers look great.
Yeah, it was like what, a
Yeah, they
10-second teaser, and that's a weird way to close out your show. Which I've got
I
things to
mean-
say about that with other conferences, but we'll get to that when we get there.
It's kind of a staple. They love doing the but one more thing, just to close off the show for you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a little treat
Here's
for
a little-
sitting through Just Dance.
Little trinket.
Well, we got a little treat for you after the show, so just come on down and we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
It was okay, but it was so Ubisoft, I guess. You really don't have to watch them, and you'll kind of still have an idea of what's happening.
They put out another Just Dance on the Wii. They're saying this time it's the last one. God bless them.
They're
Man,
wrong.
Man.
So, hey, Bethesda, their big apology tour went okay, I think.
Oh well.
Oh, Bethesda.
Yeah.
I think Ghostwire was announced as a new IP. I think there was did they have Deathloop?
Yeah. That was
so
the one
they
I
have
was
a
most
new-
excited for out of theirs. Well,
Yeah.
no, that new one. I'm real pumped for Doom Eternal.
Yeah, I'm actually super pumped for Doom because I really liked the first one. It was really good. So Doom Eternal, I'm looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to Ghostwire because while Evil Within was okay, Evil Within 2 was a lot better.
You are the
And if
first
it's-
person I've ever heard say that.
I may have watched my friend play it and didn't actually play it myself.
That might be one.
But it
Ooh.
a lot better. I like 2. I think they expanded the story in an interesting way. I think the gameplay was way better. It was a little bit more open, and I think that system is setting Tango up with what they are probably going to wind up doing with Ghostwire. So if it was kind of an in-betweener game in order to create the backbone for their next game, and it's better, then great, and it was all worth it. And then of course Ikumi Nakamura with just her being her.
That was one of the best moments, honestly. One of the best presenters, easily. And I had an argument with Sean on my podcast about, like, he said Keanu Reeves was his favorite E3 moment. I'm like, that doesn't say anything good about E3. Keanu Reeves is charming, and yes, I would love to hang out with him. But if the best part of E3 is that a celebrity came out and was nice, you don't need your event anymore.
It looks like on YouTube the press conference has about the same number of likes as dislikes. So 7,000 likes, 5,500 dislikes.
I mean, you have to stand a neutral ground. You know, Fallout 76 basically reversing everything that they originally said that they were going to do was an interesting choice. And then adding a Battle Royale mode was sort of like, okay, great. But I think a lot of the id stuff is what I'm more looking forward to, like Wolfenstein Youngblood, Doom Eternal, like we said. And then, some of the new IPs. I'm always interested in new IPs. If you ever want to make an interesting press conference, like, I want you to load the shit out of it with new IPs.
But that's so risky, though.
So bold. How could you be so controversial yet so bold?
Thanks, Eric.
But yeah, it's of course that's what I want. It's not what I'm gonna get, but or like obviously like the rebirth of dead franchises is always an interesting thing for me. Speaking of which, Commander Keen is a phone game.
Yeah.
Reese was so upset about this, and I thought it looked okay. I like the cartoon aesthetic, but I also did not have any like emotional attachment to Commander Keen. And everyone I know who's been upset about it had some attachment to it.
I think so, but like, what did you want? Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is like, this was something nobody asked for, and it literally is a thanks I hate it moment where nobody was expecting this to happen. Nobody was foreseeing like, oh boy, I wish Commander Keen came back. And then when they got it, it came in a package that was not exactly how they would have even wanted it. But it's like, even if somebody was like, bring Commander Keen back, how would you want that to come out? Like, I guess a phone game beats trying to like make it a 3D open world sandbox adventure, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. The chat is just full of Fs. And people saying the audience is fake, so I don't know.
I mean, somebody was very enthusiastic.
Yeah, there was one person that you could hear.
Apparently, I followed that guy. He was super drunk, but he was having a great time. Apparently, like the first 3 rows were like all invites, and they had open bar. So that would do it.
I would cheer everything.
Yeah,
make a Fallout 76 too. That's what you guys need to do. No. Well, you give me look it up. I'll say it if you want. So I think it was mentioned that Starfield was going to be next gen at this point. Should we also expect Elder Scrolls 6 to be the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think they said because they said Starfield's coming out first between the two.
Did they?
I thought they said
that
last year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay. I don't remember that. I still thought that because like people have been talking about Starfield for years, and so I just assumed that it was just going to keep getting talked about for a couple more years, and then Elder Scrolls 6 would come out, and then we'd still be talking about Starfield.
No, I'm pretty sure they said Starfield first, and then that.
And then we'll see Elder Scrolls 6 for 5 more iterations.
5 generations.
5 generations of Elder Scrolls 6. Eventually they'll put it on the Switch, I guess.
Or a fridge.
Oh, they have to.
I still want my Alexa, Elder Scrolls 6. When's that happening?
Oh, geez.
I do actually wonder how well that Alexa Skyrim did, because apparently, like, it was actually very playable.
Well, you'll have to buy an Alexa to find out. I don't have any ads. This is not a true podcast.
This podcast
Speaking of
is by
Amazon.com. Have I got a deal for you if you specifically want to buy an Alexa?
How do you feel about books?
Do you like books being read to you? Do you remember when your mom read a book to you, but your mom was actually Steve Buscemi?
Oh my god.
You had that dream too, huh?
Wow, how did we all have the same dream? That's Netflix's newest series. So anyway, I just did like 2 ads all in one. So Square Enix, let's move on.
Speaking of which, if you want to learn a new skill, there's Skillshare.com. No, anyway.
Jesus Christ, Tim. I do the ads on my podcast. So Square Enix, like, this was kind of I kind of wanted to say this was like the year of validation. But only because of Square Enix and Nintendo, not even because of anybody else. Final Fantasy VII not only got talked about, we got so much in terms of gameplay. Like, they literally gave you they gave you the Smash Brothers run from last year. They're like, don't remember how to play Final Fantasy VII? Good, we changed it. Here's everything you need to know.
Well, if you know how to play Final Fantasy 15, you know how to play Final Fantasy 7.
And I think that's the thing that's most amazing about it to me was, like, having played Final Fantasy 15, it is such a mindless combat system.
It really is.
But seeing what they are doing with Final Fantasy 7 not only gives me hope for how that game is going to be, but I'm hoping to see something like that in a 16 or, like, future iterations of Final Fantasy. I think this is a great mix. This is an excellent combat system just by looking at it. We'll see how it plays, but I'm really excited.
Everyone who played the demo said it was excellent, so.
Yeah, I never did. I never got over there. I wanted to, but just didn't get around to it.
Well, I guess the lines probably would have been out the door. I remember
they were pretty
3,
long. Ugh.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 had a similar problem, I remember, last year. But yeah, like, we're getting that from them. Trials of Mana, that is kind of insane.
I am still completely ashamed that I didn't pick up on that right away, because I've seen that boss a million times. That big bug boss.
Crab.
Yeah. I guess it's just I've seen it so many times that I was in denial. Like, oh, okay, they're showing that, but it's just for shock value, or I don't know.
Well, and it could have been like a new Mana game, just reusing old enemies. Like, as a big Dragon Quest fan, I know that they like to reuse enemies.
Oh yeah.
So I was really excited about that, and I was really confused about it too because I wasn't there physically when they originally were talking about it, or maybe I might be getting ahead of myself. Did they not talk about it during Square Enix's and they just talked about it during Nintendo's? They might have only talked about Trials of Mana during Nintendo's press conference.
Yes.
Yeah,
so I am.
Yeah, the Mana Collection and Trials of Mana were both Switch announcements, or like Nintendo Conference announcements.
Yeah, so I was actually like kind of like taken aback because I knew some like people were talking about the Mana Collection and then saying Trials of Mana, and then I found out later that okay, Trials of Mana, not only are we getting the original, we're also getting the remake. Crazy. How else do we feel about the Square Enix press conference, especially in terms of like Final Fantasy VII? Because I mean, remember this game is supposed to be in parts, but
there was like that one where they kept showing all the streamers or something.
That was Life is Strange 2.
Oh yeah, the trailer that was like fan reactions or something, streamer reactions. That was really weird.
As Twitch streamers, how do you feel about that?
I don't mind. It's
whatever. It's part of the job now, kind of.
Because Life is Strange is a very like streamable, let's playable game in the fact that like it offers reactions to like heavy emotional material.
Yeah.
So I understood why they did it, but I did cringe a little bit, I guess, because it's sort of like, what are you really selling us on? My favorite Twitch streamer really liked it.
Kinda.
I think the one thing that I'm kind of confused about is, or interested to learn more about, kind of going back to 7. They want to make this game 45 hours long, just the Midgar portion,
which is
so
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How are you supposed to pad that out? Like, that's got to be so. Either like there's so much story in there or you found a way to like add just so many side quests.
I mean, it makes sense. Midgar was one of the more memorable parts of that game.
I think for me though, it's if we're going to do this in parts and you're giving me a 45-hour long game, what are my levels going to be? And are we transferring this over? Are we talking about like, is this going to be a dot hack situation where I can transfer my characters and shit over to the next title? But then if it's 45 hours long, aren't I going to be like in the 40s by the time I exit Midgar? And it just, there are too many questions for me to figure out how they're going to make this work.
I mean, here's the thing too. They also haven't shown like half the roster, although half the roster you don't get in Midgar. So are they going to rewrite it so they show up, or is it literally just those 4 characters?
I mean, the only person they didn't reveal is Red 13, and he shows up at the very end.
Did they show Yuffie and Vincent and Sid?
Oh, sorry. The only character they don't show that appear in the game before you leave Midgar is Red 13. There are too many variables about how they want to do this and then how this is going to work logistically. And my fear is that these are all going to be separate games. Not even separate episodes, but separate titles.
You might be right.
That's guaranteed at this point. There's no way it's DLC. It's just straight up going to be like Final Fantasy Remake Part 2. They said it was going to be episodic. They've confirmed it's episodic.
7-2 and 7-3.
That's what I'm getting, but more so to the fact that like there is no the thing that I'm thinking is that there is no connectivity between the episodes.
Oh, okay, I see where you're going.
And how's that going to work with level progression? How's that going to work with materia progression? Like, remember that summons would take you almost all game to master one summon materia. So like I'm interested. I feel like I need more information in order to basically say, okay, I have an idea about how this is going to work. Because it's either going to be that dot hack scenario where you can connect from the first game or start from the second game and it won't matter, or they're just going to make them totally separate games, separate titles, separate experiences.
They could dot hack it where like your save transfers certain things.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope that that's the case. But if let's pretend that each game is like 45 hours long, you better raise that level cap, or you better make it really hard to level up. Because I just feel like that's going to be so weird. Like, I feel like I'm going to be level 99 by the end of the second game, and that second game might only go up to like Rocket Town for all we know.
I keep thinking like they must be like rewriting the entire story just about to make
Pretty much, they have to.
Yeah. I mean, they've clearly shown off some stuff in the trailer that doesn't occur at all in the story. I think they've said that they want to flesh out, the Avalanche members a little bit more, and just try to provide a little bit more context. So if it makes for a better story, cool. But I'm kind of like concerned, not like angry concerned, but I just have this in the back of my mind of like, how the hell are they gonna do this?
I mean, if you really are stuck in Midgar for the first 40-ish hours, like, imagine how crazy that would be, though, to get out for the first time. Because it's crazy in the first game, and you're only there for 6 hours, maybe, in the first, I don't know.
I think, like, that first section is definitely, like, within the first 8 hours, depending on your speed.
It is a sizable chunk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a big portion of Disc 1. But in the grand scheme of things, that's still maybe, 1/5 of the entire game. Which is still big. Were there any other, like, surprises from Square Enix that you guys thought was like, oh, wow?
That Avengers game, I'm so on the fence about. Because I want it to be good. I know the names attached to it are good. There's potential. But they didn't show anything but besides really cutscenes and stage stuff that you couldn't tell what was happening.
I know. I'm still taken aback by the Kenny Loggins looking Tony Stark.
Oh my god.
I like the
like
Spaceballs joke. The like, you idiots, you captured their stunt doubles.
That was pretty good.
I think the part for me that just weirds me out the most is like Bruce Banner looks too much like Mark Ruffalo. Like everyone else is just fuck up their faces a little bit, and they won't look too much. With somebody did not fuck up Bruce Banner's face. He looks like Mark Ruffalo. A little too much. It's uncanny. Everyone else is just kind of like, all right, just make them look a little different, but leave Bruce Banner alone. He knows what he did. I don't know. Like, I think the gameplay will be great. I think a lot of people are giving it crap now because Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like, the characters look better, and that's understandable from an aesthetic because all we have is visuals. We don't have gameplay, so we can only judge by what we see. But Crystal Dynamics has had a fairly good track record, so I do have high hopes for it. I'm not exactly sure how it'll work out as a narrative, but I think the gameplay will be fine. Anything else?
Nothing really comes to mind.
I think that was it.
So let's move on, last but not least, to the big N. I was about to say
The N-word.
Another No!
Namco
No.
Bandai.
Namco Bandai.
Yep.
I was about to say it wrong, and then I realized I already said it wrong. So, Namdai Banco. So, Nintendo, good job. You spent less than 10% of your time talking about Smash, and it's still the only thing people are talking about.
I mean, they sort of bookended it, actually.
They literally bookended it.
Nah,
right?
not technically, no.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and that's what I was alluding to earlier.
Well, one more gift for the audience.
But yeah, no, they let off with the hero from Dragon Quest, which is honestly a really good pick. A really good pick.
I know he's been rumored, but goddamn, I'm so happy.
He is one of the few characters where I'm like, yeah, no, an inclusion of that makes sense.
It makes sense, and just the fact that it's sort of something that we've been waiting on for a while, like especially with nothing but rumors and speculation, it again felt really validating, and everything that Banjo players or Banjo fans are feeling, that's how I felt about the hero, the Luminary, being announced.
Well, I'm just happy they added the hero of 8, and he's got his buddy with him too.
Oh,
he's got Munchie?
Yeah, he's got Munchie.
Sure does.
Oh boy.
I just wish that Yangus also showed up. Then it'd be perfect. Then I'd be set. I'd be like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Ike. I've changed mains. It's time for Hero and Yangus. Let's go.
Oh, Gov.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
Just multi-band. Yeah, I mean, the fact that the other heroes show up as I would assume a final Smash-ish type thing, I mean, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, having Yangus show up in some fashion. They might reveal a stage. As far as I know, they've only talked about characters, and they've showed off Banjo's stage.
No, they showed off a
The
stage.
hero gets a stage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's why all the slimes were showing up. I think it was an 11 theme stage.
That's fair.
Yeah, if it was, I didn't really recognize it, but
You know what?
it's all going by so fast. It's kind of weird.
I'll look at that trailer again.
Because
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
I know they show gameplay.
Yeah,
of
it's
hero.
the floating platform that kind of looked like.
Oh yeah, that place. Okay. I forget what it's called, but you don't see that until post game. That's weird that they would.
Oh, is it post?
Unless I'm
Oh,
thinking
right. Okay, I think I understand why that is, but spoilers. It is 2 games. Look, I'm weird about spoiler culture. I'm okay to admit that. Sometimes I don't care, sometimes I do. But I really want people to play Dragon Quest. Just figure it out for yourself. Please just play the game.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a time investment though. I still haven't finished the post game myself.
I just started the post game, so I'm working my way towards it.
I'm so torn about playing 11 because I have the PS4 version, but the Switch, I haven't started it, and the Switch version comes out in like 3 months and is supposed to be just way better.
I just wait. Get the Switch version. Like I normally would want to say like just play it now.
And it has like the fast forward thing too. Yeah, I would wait.
There are a lot
Just
of
the grinding is a pain in the ass.
quality of life improvements, and grinding isn't even that much harder than it has been in previous games. It's There are a lot of quality of life
That's
improvements
true.
that 11 has on its own, but they've further improved it. You get the symphonic soundtrack. You get extra story for all the characters that is not going to be in the PS4 version. Like, all the stuff that the Switch is getting right now, until they announce something else, is exclusive. So, just wait. It may not look as good as the PS4 Pro in 4K, whatever, but you get all the extra content. And honestly, I would rather have less visual quality, but better audio quality. The symphonic soundtrack makes a difference. So that was my ad for this podcast. Please buy all the Dragon Quest.
Yep.
I am a shill for Square Enix only for Dragon Quest. Please hire me. But yeah, I personally, like, Nintendo really took advantage. They don't even care whether Sony's there or not, but like, you could tell that they were like, we're taking advantage this year. We spent half of our direct last year talking about Smash Brothers. That's out the door. We can focus on all these new games that we have talked about, except for Metroid Prime 4. Shut up, don't ask.
I mean, they already said, like, yeah, that's going to take a while. Like, I wouldn't expect anything on that till next E3.
Well, they've pushed it over to Retro Studios because apparently we don't even know who was developing it originally, but now Retro Studios has it, so I'm pretty sure they've gone and restarted from scratch.
Oh, they already confirmed it's a restart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
So they are...
This makes me wonder is, at this point, I'm pretty sure we're getting a Metroid Prime trilogy collection, or even like quadrilogy at this point. But like,
Well,
I wonder if this bumped it back. I wonder if that was ready to go out the door, and they were like, oh shit, we gotta wait now.
Oh god.
It's quite possible, and I think some rumors were saying that because of the pushback on Prime 4, that we were gonna get an announcement for a collection as like a consolation prize, and we could still get that. Just because we didn't get it during E3 doesn't mean it's never going to happen. We all had been rumoring Secret of Mana, or the Mana Collection, for like a year and a half. I think eventually we're probably going to get Metroid Prime Trilogy. So we've got Banjo and Smash, Collection of Mana. We're getting news about Animal Crossing, which looks great.
Yes,
it seems like we're kind of getting a lot of things that people have been asking for a long time. Is there, like, do we feel fulfilled right now? Like, can things get better? Is there anything that we're still waiting for?
I kind of went into this E3 being like, I'm not really waiting on anything. Like, the few things like I want, or like I'm waiting on a couple things, but otherwise, like, they don't need to announce anything new that I want, aside from maybe like an F-Zero. And I walked out of like the Nintendo conference being like, holy crap, they gave me like 3 or 4 things I didn't know I wanted. I didn't expect No More Heroes 3. Yeah. That seemed too soon to get a trailer for that.
I knew you were really happy for that. Yep.
I didn't expect a new Contra game, even though it doesn't look good.
So cool.
I hope it's good, but it looks. I didn't expect portable Resident Evil 5. I was psyched for that. Although that portion of the direct was really weird and probably wasn't needed.
It was a weird transition.
I
think the one thing I'm a little nervous about with 5 on the Switch is that they're still doing co-op UI the same way.
I mean, I never expected them to change that.
They have 2 portable systems.
Well, no, if you do it that... Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, you kind of do need to see what they're doing is the thing.
But still...
Even all the modern ports of 5 still and 6 still have that, unfortunately.
I know, but they're on bigger TVs.
We'll
see.
I didn't expect a new Panzer Dragoon or even a remake to be announced. That was a surprise.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't expect Cadence of Hyrule to be out 3 days later.
There's that too.
Yep.
Although I think some people are even rumoring that it was going to be out that day. So 3 days later is still close. It's good. And then I think personally for me it was just getting the hero in Smash is cool, but personally I'm like, I think I'm just Smash fatigued.
That's fair. The game's out.
Yeah.
It's been out for a while, so.
Yeah. And I think personally it's there's so much weight on the Nintendo scene about Smash Brothers that all other things kind of get pushed aside when it comes to Smash Brothers talking about anything.
But that's why Nintendo does it, because they know that's the case.
I know.
Can't fault them for what people want, basically.
Oh, absolutely.
And the
I'm
same thing's
not-
going to happen when they start talking about their next Mario Kart. So
I'm actually curious to see if we'll get a new Mario Kart. I've never seen them do 2 Mario Karts on the same system. It doesn't mean it won't happen. I know this situation is a little different because we got a deluxe. We got a remaster of a previously made one. So, it's always possible.
it's possible. And there's also the mobile one coming out. It's in open beta, or closed beta, rather.
Yeah. So,
Also, how about that Dr. Mario mobile game?
Oh, yeah.
What
That
the world
comes out
is
next
that?
week.
I'm
Jeez.
interested in it.
It looks
sort of
looks
like
interesting.
it looks
It
like
does.
a weird mix of Dr. Mario and, Bubble Bobble. Or am I thinking of Bubble Bobble or am I thinking of Bust-A-Move?
You're thinking of Bust-A-Move.
Same mascot, but Bust-A-Move. Dragging with your fingers and all that. So, I mean, personally, I feel pretty good. Like, this was a really good direct, like, for me.
Yeah.
Because I got variety, and I got to see all these different games that are coming out. Like, Nintendo laid out the rest of their 2019 and their early 2020, and everything looks fantastic. Like, this is what I was talking about earlier with Microsoft. Like, this makes you want to own a Switch because these are the experiences that you can only get on a Switch. Besides, like, a couple of like Ni no Kuni remasters out on PS4.
Oh, yeah.
But everything else was like, this is the best reason to own a Nintendo system. You're getting all of these games. You're getting so much validation on things that people have been asking for like quite some time. They went ham. Like, they went full ham on this. Speaking of not getting 2 Mario Karts on one system, isn't it crazy we're getting 2 brand new Zelda games on one system?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, a little, but the N64 did that.
It did, and this is kind of going off the same premise of same engine, new story. So obviously that works. And like I said, this is not unprecedented. It's just not common.
Apparently, it's more common than I expected.
Yeah.
Because
It came
I
sooner
didn't.
than I expected.
Someone said Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are on the same engine, and I was surprised in that. But I'm like, no, I think that's right, actually.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense.
Twilight Princess was supposed to be Phantom Hourglass at some point. I remember talking with Emil about that recently. And then because of the fan reaction to Wind Waker, they just went with Twilight Princess instead.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, it makes sense to me that... and, yeah, the Wii U had Breath of the Wild and...
And a million
really, they
HD
only had-
remasters.
They have the 2 HD remasters. God damn it. But the GameCube and the Wii both shared Twilight Princess, but you could say that the GameCube had 2 Zelda games. You could say the Wii had 2 Zelda games with Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. It's not uncommon. It's just a little weird. And in this case, like, both of these experiences will be unique to this. Well, god damn it. No, that doesn't even count either. Breath of the Wild is still a Wii U game. But I mean, I was pretty surprised. I think everyone saw that trailer thinking we were getting DLC, like a season 2, and it turns out we're getting a brand new game.
Well, that's they literally said like we were gonna do DLC, but then we had too many ideas, so we're like, screw it, let's just make a new game.
Isn't that what made Super Mario Galaxy 2 happen?
That is exactly what this is. And honestly, I like Galaxy 2 better than 1, so if this ends up being the same situation, I'm all in.
I mean, if I get to ride Yoshi in Breath of the Wild 2,
I mean, shoot.
if that's
Take
like
that
the core
action.
mechanics. I mean, again, nothing much to go on besides a trailer. I think they did this reveal trailer much better than other companies have done theirs, where it's just like, here's a landscape and a title. We actually have like some lore, some questions. Like, people are already just scouring, rewatching the videos to try and get some information out of it.
Any reason to believe?
Yeah. Zelda got a haircut in between.
I mean, it's a fantastic haircut.
Yeah, I mean, it leads me to believe there's been some time passed between the two,
Yeah.
at least.
I'm still leaning towards they're gonna make her somewhat playable this time around.
They were
yeah.
very coy about answering that question, and they wouldn't. Personally, I believe they would not have been that coy to not say, like, in some ways that she is somehow playable. even if she's not the main focus. Maybe co-op. Like
Yeah.
that would blow my mind if they did like if they somehow made co-op
an
work.
actual co-op Zelda and not 4 swords. That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. So that quite a lot to look forward to with very little information. I think everyone's expecting Ganondorf to make an appearance.
Yep.
There's a part of me, the contrarian me, that's like, what if it's Yuga? Long hair, don't care.
I
Could be.
I mean, it almost looks like
There's a
Gira
couple
him to
ways
me.
it could go.
There's that
There's
too.
a bunch of ways it could go.
It could be the corpse of Malice from Skyward Sword.
There's,
Yeah,
there's a
maybe.
lot of different directions this could go. Someone supposedly translated the Hylian text, and I think it said something like "Seal Ganon" or something like that.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I mean, it's definitely an interesting aspect of the Direct. Totally did not see that coming. There were quite a lot of things that Nintendo talked about, but that would become its own like podcast episode, much like the rest of these conferences. So I know we probably missed a couple of things. Was there anything else about Nintendo's conference that you were like super jazzed about?
Well, definitely Breath of the Wild 2 would be number 1 for me.
No More
Even though it's
Heroes
way too
3.
soon. Also, Dragon Quest Builders 2. I can't not say it.
Luigi's Mansion 3 looks real good, actually.
It is pretty super.
I was kind of
yeah.
on it until I saw that presentation. I was like, holy shit, never mind. I'm in.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see the quality upgrade that it got between its original reveal and today, or the Direct. Like all the stitches are showing, and it's clearly like they didn't take an up-res Luigi's Mansion 2 render and just like slapped it onto the Switch.
Yeah.
So it's all looking really good. I'm a soft Luigi's Mansion fan. I really wanted to hear more about that last year.
It was one of the logo appearances of last year, just like Metroid Prime 4, or was that the year before? I forget.
Luigi's Mansion might have
like-
been a Direct outside of E3.
Maybe Halloween.
'Cause I remember-
Halloween. I think you're right. I think it was like the same one.
Oh,
where
yeah,
they
yeah.
Did something with Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that was another one of those title reveals. But yeah, I'm really happy to see a lot of information on it. I think the most surprising thing for me, besides Breath of the Wild 2, was how I was super wrong on both ends of the scale about Animal Crossing. My personal opinion was we were either going to hear something about it and it would release in 2019, or we weren't going to hear anything about it and it would release in 2020. And I was totally wrong.
Comes out 2020, and they talked about it a lot after the Direct.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I think it's good for them, and I think it's a really good way to address one of the major issues in the industry, which is the crunch that a lot of developing studios are facing these days about trying to cram so much of production within the last minute, and then especially after everything we had heard from BioWare and Anthem. Like, this was a really good moment for Nintendo to be like, we're not going to do this. Delay the game. Everyone's going to be like, we don't really care if the investors are okay. I heard their stock dropped quite a bit.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Weird.
So I can't remember the numbers, but their stock dropped after the announcement. And the idea was that, oh, well, like, are they being punished? And I'm like, no, they're not being punished. They told their shareholders that they were going to release a certain number of games and a certain quality of title within their fiscal year, and it's not going to happen. So if the stockholders get scared, they get a little spooked out, and then your stock drops a little bit. They're going to recover.
End of day
Like-
trading Tokyo on Wednesday, shares of Nintendo had fallen 3.53% because of Animal Crossing's delay. Oh wow, that 3.5% roughly translates to $1 billion.
It does. Yep.
It
That
was a
is-
hit.
That is crazy.
It was a hit.
Stock market's bonkers, dude.
But that's what happens. Like when people get a little nervous, you lose $1 billion. Man, E3 came and went. So how do we feel about this year? I know we've said some things like how the relevancy is starting to fade. But was there anything that you guys like really positive, like really happy about? What's the number one thing that was really a good thing for you this year?
All that footage of Final Fantasy VII and Doom Eternal.
Right on.
And then seeing announcements for like Deathloop and what was the one from Xbox? 12 Minutes looked really good.
I saw that. Yeah, I was in.
That game apparently has been in development since 2015. Actually.
Oof, really? 2015?
Yeah. Wow.
And it still doesn't have a release date.
And then I think it got picked up by another company. I could be totally wrong about that, but and I did think they said 2020. Is that when it's coming out?
Right, the side I'm looking at says TBA right now.
Oh, is it still TBA? Maybe I'm thinking. No, I don't think I'm thinking of another game. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure 12 Seconds has been in development for a while. I think it's another indie title, which would explain some of that. And then I think they got picked up by a studio, and then things kind of moved forward from there. But it looks good. I think like the Groundhog Day narrative is pretty interesting. I think there was another game that got announced that had a similar narrative, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Deathloop. Deathloop.
Oh,
it's another one.
Yeah, Deathloop looked good.
Although that's more live, die, repeat. So, I guess personally, like I said, I always look forward to new IPs because they are like completely new experiences that might, kind of bring something out of me. I haven't been as excited for sequels as I used to be because they're almost just becoming the sure thing. And then I already knew that Dragon Quest XI was coming to the Switch, so great. I'll probably rebuy it. Dragon Quest Builders 2, I know is also coming out on PS4, so I'll probably purchase it on that system over the Switch. I think personally, like Trials of Mana was a big thing for me as well, like because people have been waiting, 20 plus years for a localization of that game, and not only did we get that, but we get a remake that is not based off of Secret of Mana's engine, hopefully. So it looked like it wasn't. Yeah. Well, once you take the Vita out of the picture, amazing things can happen. So that's looking really good. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And actually, like Ni no Kuni remaster on the PS4.
Yeah, there's so much. There's everything looks good. Oh, Pokemon looks good too. Ooh.
Yeah, Pokemon for me is starting to become a little bit tougher. I've been like getting maybe 5 to 10 hours in, and then I can't.
Oh yeah.
We doing okay?
That's the fire alarm. No, this happens like every month.
Oh, that's cool.
Maybe even once every 2 weeks. I don't know.
I was saying, I'm glad you're so calm about it.
Yeah, so used to it at this point.
Moving forward from that, was there anything that you're still waiting on that you haven't heard anything about?
Mother 3.
Gears of War Tactics.
Oh yeah!
We got Gears Pop and we got Gears 5, but we didn't get Gears Tactics.
It bugs me so much. Apparently, Tim's fire alarm agrees.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Really, it bothers me a lot that Gears of War Pop was announced a year ago and it's still not out.
I mean, it's coming out
I don't know.
soon. It's September, I think.
Maybe it's just like I don't have my nose to the ground as much in terms of mobile game development.
They didn't have a date on it. Never mind. I'm wrong.
But it's just a little like kind of weird to me. I mean, well, then there was also Command & Conquer. We haven't heard anything about that either.
But the mobile game?
Yeah.
I thought that already came out.
Oh, did it? Because I guess that's my feeling though. Is like I assumed that Gears of War Pop had come out already. So I guess it was just surprising that it didn't.
Yeah, Command & Conquer Rivals came out December 4th.
Jesus Christ.
It's been out for half a year.
Oh my god. I'm tired. What about you guys?
Yep. I gotta get on a plane in like 8 hours, so.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys go. But thank you guys. We're gonna end it off here. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I know the scheduling of all this was a little tight, but I really appreciate you guys coming on and just shooting the shit with me about video games for an hour and 28 minutes. So,
no worries. It was good, dude.
Yeah,
had to be on.
And I guess Tim is putting out I hope he's not actually putting out a fire. Are you okay, Tim?
Yeah, it's still going off. I don't know. It happens like because something that he cooks in there causes it to puts off a lot of smoke or something. I don't know.
As long as you're okay.
Yeah, we're okay. It's all
right.
good. You wouldn't know it, but we are.
All right, that's the important
It sounds like
thing.
the end of the world. That is the important thing. Because I don't want to find out that, like, there is something going on. Anyway, but yeah, I really appreciate you guys talking to you guys. We'll see you all in the next episode of DialogBOX. Thank you guys for watching this. If you manage to watch this entire episode and you can take every single letter from the first sentence that we've said, you will have figured out the code for 75% off on your Audible subscription.
Oh my god.